So welcome back, my dear students. So this is session 2 of Unit 1, Green IT and Overview. So we had discussed the differences between green computing and green IT, and we had seen the different contents we'll be discussing in this chapter. We tried to understand what is green IT, we saw a few videos, and we also understood the various benefits of green IT. So we had stopped here in session 1, and today we shall continue the session 2, which starts from the environmental impacts of IT. Okay, so how our information technology field, which basically consists of these computers and the other computing devices, and their manufacturing and the usage and disposal, the way they are, the IT field is entering the various different fields. Everything is getting computerized, everything is online now. We have online businesses, so we can see IT industry is spreading very widely, right? So hence, if we talk about the effects of IT, then we can say as and when it spreads to different areas as well, the impacts will also be increasing, right? So we'll try to understand on the environment specifically how IT is affecting. So these are the concepts we'll be studying. Basically, we'll try to understand what is climatic change and global warming, greenhouse gases, greenhouse effect. So before I actually explain to you in brief, I'd like you to see this small video and try to understand these concepts. Okay, let's watch a small video on YouTube which basically talks about these.
As the sun's rays reach the Earth's surface, some are absorbed and re-emitted as heat. Greenhouse gases, such as water vapor and carbon dioxide, absorb and re-radiate some of this heat. Increased amounts of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere mean more heat is trapped, warming the Earth. Human activities, especially the burning of fossil fuels, have increased concentrations of atmospheric carbon dioxide by 40%, mainly since 1900. Global average surface temperature has increased by 0.8 degrees Celsius over that time. Other changes to the climate in recent decades can be seen in the warming of the oceans, a rise in sea level, decreasing snow and ice cover in the northern hemisphere, and a decline in sea ice in the Arctic. If emissions continue unchecked, then further warming of 2.6 to 4.8 degrees Celsius would be expected by the end of this century. Even at the low end, this would have serious implications for human societies and the natural world. For more information about climate change from leading science academies, please visit royalsociety.org/climatechange.
Right, so that's a small video explaining to you what is greenhouse effect and how it actually increases global warming. So that is happening naturally, and that is happening by different human activities as well. But how IT specifically is contributing to these effects on the environment is, we know that the IT, when it's in the initial stage, that is in the each stage of a computer's life cycle, that is from its production through its use to its disposal. So we have it presents the environmental problems. So which are those problems? Like say manufacturing the computers and various electronic and non-electronic components of computing devices. What happens to them? They consume electricity. Manufacturing process requires electricity, and also raw materials which require mining. We have to dig in and get in some raw materials, and we need chemicals, water, and all these when they go into the manufacturing process, they generate this hazardous waste. Okay, poisonous waste substances are generated when you manufacture the computing devices. So all these, they directly or indirectly increase the carbon dioxide emissions, which is one of the main greenhouse gases. Okay, so when the and what happens? The increased amount of carbon dioxide, it impacts the environment. It contributes to global warming. And not only the manufacturing process, when we are actually using these computing systems, what happens? The electrical energy consumption by these servers, computers, monitors, data communication equipments, data centers, cooling systems, all these is steadily increasing, right? As and when these kind of devices increase, the total energy consumption by each of them is also increasing. And hence what happens is it results in increase in the amount of greenhouse gas emissions, because most of them, they require electricity for their functioning, and electricity is generated by burning fossil fuels, right? So we know that, like, you have to burn coal or oil or gas for electricity to be generated, and which can be used to run these machines, right? Say for example, if each computer is in use is generating about ton of carbon dioxide every year, so as and when you increase the number of computers, so the emission of carbon dioxide is also increasing. And also these computer components, they contain some toxic materials. So whenever you discard these computing devices, monitors and other electronic computers or old computers, after some few years of their purchase, what happens? Most of them, they end up in the landfills, they pollute the earth, and they contaminate the water which is available on the earth, and hence it is nothing but an environmental impact. And also what happens, the increased number of computers and their use along with the frequent replacements, what happens, it makes the IT's environment a major concern, because as I told you, IT is getting into every field now, which means the use of computer and online activity and other computing devices which is required for such a setup, all that is increasing, and hence they require energy to run, and the use of electricity is increasing, and to get more electricity we are burning more fossil fuels, and as and when you burn these fossil fuels, more greenhouse gases are generated, especially carbon dioxide is enhanced, and hence what happens, it leads to the greenhouse effect, or global warming is increased. So, and also it is our we have to believe that it's our social and corporate responsibility to safeguard our environment. As you can see, it's individually we have to understand these effects, and we have to take care that such effects are at least minimized. We have to use the computer systems wisely. So what is actually global warming? So increase in the average temperature of the Earth's atmosphere. Increase in the temperature of the Earth's atmosphere. What happens? The Earth's surface, which can contribute to changes in global climate patterns. So as and when the global warming, the average temperature is increased, the climatic patterns change. How it is changed? So because of increased heat or on the Earth's surface, what happens? The glaciers or the ices and the north and south pole, they are melting. So as and when they melt, the levels in the rivers, that is increasing, and that's leading to more rainfall. Everything is getting disturbed, right? So that's why we say that if the global warming increases, the climatic pattern, the 4 seasons what we have, they get disturbed, their length gets disturbed, or their intensity may vary. It might reduce, or it might be severely more. Sometimes we see that it's a heavy rainfall, floods, which is very, very difficult to handle. So all this is happening because of the increased global warming. And second thing is greenhouse gases. Like I told you, basically we talked about the emissions like carbon dioxide, but there are other greenhouse gases also, which is very important for you to know. So basically the carbon dioxide gas, CO2, how it is produced? Basically by transportation or by fossil fuel combustion like coal and crude oil. Whenever we burn such fuels, the carbon dioxide emission is increased. And there is similarly another gas such as the methane gas. So by methane gas also, what happens? Increase in the amount of methane gas, it leads to increase in the greenhouse gases and leads to global warming. So that's methane gas. And then the other gases we have is the nitrous oxide, okay, N2O. So that is increased by manufacturing processes, agriculture process, and use of cars. So that increases the nitrous oxide amount in the atmosphere. And we have HFCs, that is hydrofluorocarbons. So that is basically increases with the semiconductor manufacturing. And we have perfluorocarbons, PFCs, that is by aluminium production, PFCs are increased. And we have one more greenhouse gas, that is sulfur hexafluoride, SF6, that is increased by the electrical transmission and magnesium production. So these are the greenhouse gases which are generally present in the atmosphere to some extent, but by other human activities which I talked about, like burning of fossil fuels to generate electricity, other various manufacturing, transport kind of activities, they also produce these greenhouse gases, and hence leading to increased amount of greenhouse gases in the Earth's atmosphere. So as and when they are more in number, what they do is, like we discussed earlier, see, you can see this in the picture, greenhouse effect. So in the, by whatever heat is radiated from the sun, so it is allowed to pass through these gases. They are present in the Earth's atmosphere, they allow it to pass through the atmosphere and it reaches the Earth, but some of it is absorbed and some of it is reflected back to the surface, and these greenhouse gases, they absorb those infrared radiations emitted by the Earth, and what they do is they re-emit them in different directions. So as they do it in different directions or in all directions, what happens, it leads to increased amount of heat in the Earth's atmosphere, which is nothing but greenhouse effect, and hence it increases the global warming. I hope we are clear with the concepts of climate change, global warming, greenhouse gases, and the greenhouse effect. Okay. Next, we are talking about the different dimensions or directions in which this we have different approaches in the IT enabled approaches. Why we have these approaches? To improve the environmental sustainability. Before we actually try to understand these dimensions, we have to understand this term of environmental sustainability. What is sustainability? Sustainability is all about meeting needs and seeking a balance between people and environment and the economy. So that is actually, in simpler words, you can say that a development that meets the needs of present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. I mean, we as a generation should not use up every natural resource that is available to us for free and leaving nothing for our next generations, right? So we have to be very careful and very wise, very responsible in the way we use the naturally available resources. That is called as environmental sustainability. Throughout the human race, everyone should be able to use these resources for their own comfort and for a good lifestyle, right? So for that reason, this generation or further generations to come, everybody has to be very, very responsible in the way we use the natural resources. That is called as environmental sustainability. So with that as an aim, with that as a main aim or purpose, how this green IT can work in different directions or in different dimensions, that is what we are talking about. So the first thing is greening IT system and usage. That is efficient and effective design, manufacture, use and disposal of computer hardware, software and communication systems with no or minimal impact on the environment. That is called as greening IT system and usage. Throughout the life cycle of the computer, we have to be very, very responsible, try to reduce the negative impacts on the environment. In that approach, what we can do, some amount of environmental sustainability can be achieved. Second dimension or second direction or second approach is using IT to support environmental sustainability. That is, use of IT and information system to empower or to support and assist other enterprise-wide environmental initiatives. Whatever other areas or other fields are there in which IT can enter or on which IT can provide a support, those fields or areas should also be using these IT responsibly, so that the environmental sustainability is contributed by those fields as well, not only the IT, because IT is a part of them, right? So with that, with the support of IT, we can try to do it wisely and hence try to achieve the environmental sustainability. Third and the last dimension of green IT is that using IT to create awareness. As I told you, IT is in every field now, so we have to use this IT to create awareness among the various people, stakeholders, customers or consumers, and we have to promote this green agenda and green initiatives by advertising, by creating activities, or by supporting or encouraging, providing incentives, by noticing by noticing if somebody is doing any activity to contributing to the, by like simple ways like saving paper, saving fuel, no, the simple work from home initiative. If at all, its office is too long and it's going to consume a lot of fuel to reach there, if it is possible to work from home and if you can support that, you are contributing a lot towards the environment. That is also another way of greening IT. Just an example. So this is the different ways in which the green IT can work in three different areas. That is by being itself green from its birth to its death to its rebirth, and when it can, if it is providing a support to other areas, there it has to be again wisely used. And also we can use IT in itself to create awareness among other people, so that they also are encouraged to use green IT. Okay, so that is about the dimensions of green IT. So next thing is we have a simplest kind of a framework provided by this organization, that is Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD. Okay, so OECD it's the organization which has proposed this framework. It consists of three analytical levels: direct impact, enabling impacts, and systematic. This is another way of talking the earlier slide, which is about the three dimensions of IT. This is just another way of talking about it. This organization has provided with this framework, OECD. So let's talk about the first one, that is direct impact. So they say that the technology is having direct impact on the environment. So this is called as first order effects on the environment. So they are both positive and as well as negative due to the physical existence of IT goods, services, and other related processes. So the direct environmental impacts are the IT manufacturing and service firms, including the intermediaries and goods producers, final consumers, and the users of these IT products. All these, the technological hardware, software usage, the whole setup, the way it is required to run it, that is basically the technology that is going to directly impact the environments. Okay, second is the enabling impacts, that is from the applications of IT. So these are called as second order effects. They arise from the IT applications, and they actually reduce the environmental impacts across several economic and social activities. Say for example, IT can be used to streamline or modify how other products are designed or produced or consumed. Say if any devices manufacturing is machinized, or if that is controlled by IT, by some method, what we can do is we can try to make it greener, we can try to achieve a little amount of responsible usage of any kind of resources, natural resources, or the production of hazardous or poisonous waste from that process can be minimized by doing some smart work over there. So that is called as enabling impacts. Whatever fields in which we have applications of IT in itself can contribute there, so that that process is done in a wiser way, in a responsible way, thinking about the environment. The process could be done, and hence we can try to reduce the negative impacts on the environment. The last one is systematic impacts of IT. So these impacts and their application on the environment are also called as third order effects. They actually involve the behavioral change and process change and other non-technological factors. These are completely non-technical aspects. Say for example, like I was telling you, the behavioral change. Say whatever work you can do sitting at home, if the same can be done in the office, we have to encourage that it can be done from home, so that you are saving the burning of fossil fuel. Reach out, you may use your own transport, or even if you are contributing to public transport, everything is going to take up the energy, right, and contribute to the e-waste production, or the hazardous gases or poisonous gases, or it may lead to increase in the amount of greenhouse gases. So all that can be a small change in the behavior, putting the system off when it is not in use. So such simple behavioral change, acting responsibly around by saving energy, even when you are at home, or it doesn't matter where you are, just try to act responsibly. Don't leave any electronic equipment on. Don't unnecessarily waste the electricity. So that is another way of trying to systematic impacts of IT by having a small little behavioral changes. Okay, next we have 6 holistic approaches to address green IT. Okay, so these are the different directions or different way of thinking whenever we address the IT process and make it green. So we have to do it wisely. We have to put in the greening of IT has to be done in this by this different ways. Individually we are talking about how a green IT as a whole process it is operated. So let's take up the first one, that is green design. Okay, green design of the IT system. This is one of the approaches to address this green IT and trying to minimize the negative effects on the environment. So what is green design? Green design of IT system basically means designing of energy efficient and environmentally sound components, computers, servers, cooling equipment, any electronic device which is I use in the IT industry. Its design phase itself has to be done such that it becomes an energy efficient equipment. Energy efficient in the sense it has to consume low energy, or it should not unnecessarily take up extra energy. It should not take, it should function well in the lowest amount of energy. Energy efficient device means such a device which can work with low energy consumption, or automatically it goes to sleep mode or uses low energy mode. Something like that has to be done in the design phase itself, so that ultimately when it becomes a product, it becomes an energy efficient product. Then we have green manufacturing of IT systems. So manufacturing electronic components and other computing devices or computerized equipments and other associated subsystems with minimal or no impact on the environment. I mean, the manufacturing process requires electricity, burning of raw materials, right? So the process of manufacturing should be done wisely, such that that process is not contributing to the negative effects on the environment. The manufacturing process has to be wisely thought of, planned out, and then the manufacturing process has to be done. Then we have this green use of IT system, that is reduce the energy consumption of computers and other IT systems and use them in an environmentally sound manner. So like I was telling you, if each computer conserves a little amount of electricity, think about how hundreds of computers in the same company or maybe in the same floor, how much energy can be conserved. The same conserved energy could be used for another day or maybe couple more days ahead, right? So like that we have to think of, while using of the computing systems or any other electronical devices, we have to try and use lesser energy. Unnecessarily wastage of energy should not be done, it should be avoided. Then comes the green disposal. You could be using the system for a while, and after prolonged use, or maybe if you are bored, or maybe if you want to be upgraded, what you will do, you will dispose of that system, right? The disposal should be done wisely. Like if it can be reused or refurbished, the old computers, it should be done. You should encourage reuse if at all it is possible, and if it's okay to reuse or continue use the old computer, then it has to be encouraged. Or if at all you want to dispose it off, then properly we have to recycle the unwanted computers and other electronic equipment. We should not just throw it away on the land surface. We have to undergo proper disposal mechanism, proper recycle mechanism has to be done. We should not just throw away, right? E-waste, else it just piles up like plastic, right? So we have to be very, very careful when disposing of the old computers. And green standards and metrics. So these are required for promoting, comparing the benchmarking sustainability initiatives, products, services and practices. So these standards and metrics, if it well planned and well thought of and put up, what happens, everybody can follow them without wondering much about how much it will be done. Everything has to be explained. If you follow these practices, if you buy such products, then your energy efficiency can be achieved. This is the thing which can be recycled in such and such a way. This is how you can reduce the effect on the environment. All that has to be standardized, and metrics, it has to be properly measured and told to the person. Only then he will be encouraged to use it, right? At least he can choose which one is affordable to him, he'll have a choice, right? If he can use such a device, he can be wiser towards the environment and be a responsible user of IT products. Such standards and metrics have to be developed. Then lastly, green IT strategies and policies. These are the effective and actionable strategies and policies. They add value and focus on both short and long term benefits. So these are aligned with business strategies and practices, and they are the key components of greening IT. So the strategies and policies are like, again, the standards. Different policies are written out, which are through experience. Different people write out what kind of equipments can be bought and how they can be used and how they can be recycled. So business processes, whenever you're starting a new business process, if their policy is already available and if it's made mandatory to follow such a policy, then we can make the new startups greener, right? Rather than asking the old ones to practice, if the new companies are emerging, if it's made mandatory for them to follow certain policies so that they are functioning with environmentally responsible as a company, if they are functioning in that way, what more can you ask for, right? So we have to have some green IT strategies and policies. So these are the 6 holistic approaches in which we can address the green IT. So ultimately it's going to have a lot of benefits to us. These are the different ways or different approaches which have been discussed. In each approach has its own amount of benefit towards the environment. We need to understand thoroughly each approach, only then we can follow those approaches. Next, coming to life cycle of a computer. Okay, this is a general life cycle which is not actually in your syllabus, but I've just put up for you to understand what is the difference between a computer's life cycle and a green computer's life cycle, which is in our next slide. So you can see in this slide, a computer's life cycle, we just plan, we just purchase, that's procurement, we just deploy and we use the computer, we do its maintenance, and then we undergo transition. Maybe you can do some upgradation, and again you plan. This is a normal computer's life cycle, right? You only worry about having the latest technology in your hands, right? Always new, brand new, of this brand, right? Of this size, of this quality, high definition. That is what we are usually talking about, right? This is a normal computer's life cycle which we have usually seen. But what if this life cycle becomes a green computer's life cycle? So you can see the design process itself has to be made green design. Like I told you, in the design itself we have to decide that this device or product or computing device has to become an energy efficient product. So in design phase itself we have to decide about it becoming an energy efficient device. Only then it becomes a green design. Okay, so after the design, what we do, we go for the manufacturing of that device, of manufacturing of that computer. So how this manufacturing can be done? You can use raw materials directly, and fresh raw materials can be taken and a new computer can be produced. Also you can see the other inputs to this box, that is use reprocessed material. If any old computer has been recycled, its raw material, if you can reuse the reprocessed material, it's not raw material, it is reprocessed material. If it can be reused for manufacturing of a new computer, we have to go ahead, right? Why go for another raw material? Why use up the earth's energy? If you already have it, have that with you, why not reuse it, right? And also if some of the parts from old computer, if they are functioning well, you can put up those parts. Why go for brand new or fresh parts, right? That is, reuse the parts from a disposed computer. That way you can manufacture the computer. Okay, after the new computer is manufactured, we go for its use, right? So whenever we are using, we have to use it judiciously, wisely, responsibly, right? The usage, the way we use it has to be done very, very judiciously, taking environment into concern. We have to use it, like after using, what do you do? After we are bored, again after a few years we want a new one, right? Or we want to upgrade, or say some people, if the keyboard is not working in the laptop, they just want a new laptop, right? No, just fix the keyboard, right? Why you want to go for another new laptop? See, that is called as judicious usage of computer. If there is some problem, what you can do, you can refurbish or you can upgrade some part, and again you can redeploy and reuse it. The same computer, you can postpone buying of new computer for further years. You can save a lot of money, right? Or if at all it is completely not working, you just want to dispose it off responsibly. What is responsible dispose? You have to make sure that whatever parts can be reused, it is going for reuse, and if some of the parts which cannot be reused, it has to be properly recycled, and if something can be reprocessed which can be further used as a raw material or reprocessed material for another computer's design, that can be done. Or no, it is functioning well but still you want a new one, it is the demand of your company, or it is the demand because the software isn't fitting in the old hardware and you have to change it, then at least donate that old computer to somebody to whom it is suitable. Okay, this is called as a green computer's life cycle. See how wonderful it is. So it is like from cradle to cradle. You know what is a cradle? Totlu they say, right? So it is like cradle to cradle means nobody is dying here. It's like rebirth and rebirth. And other thing is the opposite of cradle to cradle is cradle to grave. Right? If somebody dies, we just put them in grave and it's like, okay, fine, then they rotten there. Think how wonderful it will be if it can be made cradle to cradle. So this green computer's life cycle is like cradle to cradle. The older computer is still available to us in parts, right? So that's the beauty of green computing. So this is a green computer's life cycle. I hope you will remember, this can be one of the important questions. Okay, I hope you understood this concept. Okay, let's move ahead. Lastly, for today's session, we have this concept of the 3 R's of green IT. They stand for reuse, refurbish and recycle. Reduce, reuse, recycle. Okay, these are the 3 R's of green IT: reduce, reuse and recycle. So let's try to understand what is the meaning of this 3 R's. Okay, reuse. So many organizations and individuals, like I was telling you, discussing in the earlier slides also, we want to buy new computers for each project. For every 2-3 years we want new computer, new laptop, new mobile phone, latest technology we want, 3 cam, 4 cam, I just want it, right? So what happens, instead if we can make use of an older computer, if it meets our requirement, why we should not continue the usage? Why we always have to go for a new one? And if you're going for a new one, what are you going to do with the old one? Are you disposing it off responsibly? Okay, that we have to understand, right? We cannot just throw it away. So if as much as possible, try to reuse the electronic devices. Otherwise, give it to someone who could use it, right? Who's for whom it is suitable, right? At least you donate it for somebody else. So what happens, if you can use the hardware for a longer period of time, you can reduce the total environmental carbon footprint. Okay, how? Because you consumed you wanted a new computer, they will be designing a new computer. The industry is, because there is more demand, there will be more supply. If there has to be more supply, there has to be more manufacturing. If there is more manufacturing, they will be consuming a lot of natural resources. They will be burning up a lot of electricity is required, and hence they'll be burning a lot of fossil fuels, and that is going to increase the greenhouse gases, and which is going to in turn lead to global warming, and that is going to change our climatic patterns and disturb our natural lifestyle, right? So everything is linked to the environment. We should not disturb the mother earth. So for that reason, try to reuse the electronic devices as much as possible. If at all you have to change it, at least donate it to somebody or see to it that it is properly disposed of. Refurbish. Refurbish means upgrading the old computers to meet our new requirements. Like I was telling you, if something can be done for reconditioning, say for example, like I was telling you, the keyboard, if some keys are not working, rather than going for a new laptop, why don't you just change the keyboard, right? It can be reconditioned and reused and becomes a new laptop, right? So that can be done. That most of the companies, they provide replacements now, right? So it's available also to us. So we have to encash that opportunity. Rather than buying a new computer, if you can just do some reconditioning and start using it again, that has to be encouraged. That is called as refurbishing. And lastly, we have something called as recycling. When you cannot refurbish or reuse, you have to dispose it off to the environment, right? So that has to be done in an environmentally friendly way by depositing them with the recognized electronic recyclers or electronic waste collectors. Okay, e-waste, discarded computers and electronic goods is one of the fastest growing waste types, and it poses serious environmental problems. So you saw in that video also how e-waste is just piling up. Every day people want new devices. We want to discard the old ones, and the people who never use, they also are wanting to use those devices, and the demand is increasing. Electronic equipments are getting cheaper because they are produced to such an extent, because there is a lot of demand, and hence the number is increasing, and hence the disposal is also increasing, and it's leading to a lot of e-waste, right, which is not properly managed. We have to learn to at least reduce the disposal, or at least responsibly we have to dispose them off by recycling them. Okay, so that is about the 3 R's of green IT. I shall stop here the second session, and I'll see you in the third session, where we'll be talking about greening the IT. Okay, how everything can be greened in the IT field. We'll be discussing that in detail. This is where I stop the 3 R's of green IT. I'd like you to watch this space, and I'll be uploading all my videos in the same channel. That is, if you can press next, you will be having next videos of next session. Okay, that is how in the playlist I'll be uploading these videos. So every time if the link is not shared to you, you already have the link of first video, and this video also you'll be having. So I'd like you to subscribe or save this channel of mine, so that all the green IT session videos of all the units will be available to you in the same space. Okay, don't worry about whether you got the link or not. Just keep watching this space. All the videos will be uploaded here itself. Okay, so this is Nazneen signing off.